Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sara Lubratt and today's vlog is episode 5 of Finish the Effing Draft because we are still working on DE Draft 6 and I feel like I've been slaving away on rewriting some of the chapters needed for Draft 6 and I haven't done a vlog in a while, so I wanted to catch you guys up as I work on finishing the rewriting of the ending that I need to do before then switching back over to finishing the editing for the ending, if that makes sense. Because I've been rewriting a couple of chapters, I needed to rewrite and or write and add in some new chapters to bridge those newly rewritten chapters with the current ending, and then I'll need to go back through and edit the current ending. But episode 5 of Finish the Effing Draft. Like and subscribe if you're not already, and let's get into it. Well, hi. I'm in a good mood. I just got back from writing group. I am always in a good mood after writing group. And I haven't done a vlog in a little bit, and so I wanted to talk you guys through kind of where I'm sitting with Project DE, still on draft 6. Would love to be done with draft 6, but that has not changed yet. So I want to talk through kind of where I'm at in the process, and then I'll hopefully film over the next couple of days of writing. So tonight at writing group, I was able to work on DE for about an hour and a half, which was amazing. And most of what I was doing during that time was trying to come up with what I want to call a shot list. I know that that's not really accurate and I should be calling it like a scene list or chapter list or something, but I'm at the point where I have been rewriting the ending of draft 6 and I've needed to do this like since beta readers in draft 3 and I just like haven't until now because I didn't know how I was going to change things, and now things are finally clicking, we're moving along, things are going really well, you know, 3 drafts later, but still taking what we can get. At writing group tonight, I was trying to figure out what scenes or shots. I know that shots is more of like a film term or like a photography thing, but I like how shot list sounds. So I was trying to come up with basically the chapters that still need to be written in draft 6, because as I've been rewriting chapters because things are moving in the story and characters are in different places, they're doing different things than they were in draft 5 and previous to that. So working on the shot list, I think I have about 3 or 4 chapters that I still need to do. So I spent most of my reading group tonight rereading the chapters that I've been rewriting to try and figure out what chapters I still have to rewrite before I can go back to editing the rest of the ending. Because some of the chapters that I was rewriting were middle chapters for one of the POVs, and some of the other chapters were towards the end, but not quite the ending of another POV. And so basically I need to go back in and plug in those chapters. I did for the middle chapters at writing group tonight, and then I tried to figure out what chapters are still missing so that theoretically I can get through the rewriting as quickly as possible so I can go back to editing the ending of draft 6, which is exciting. And today is February 15th. 19th. It's February 19th. And because today is February 19th, I'm like kind of hopeful that if I'm able to write for a couple hours over the next couple days, you know, in theory, like a couple hours every day over the next couple days, that I might be able to finish the rewriting here in February, which would be amazing. And I would love to do that. And then I can go back to editing the ending, which should be easier than what it feels like I'm doing right now. So that's where things are sitting. I would love to do some more writing tonight. If I end up doing that, I'm sure I'll update you guys. I did end up doing a little bit more writing last night, did not fill you guys in on it. So now it's Tuesday, but what I ended up coming up with last night is that there are actually 5 more chapters that as of right now, I think I need to bridge the newer chapters that I was writing to what currently exists in draft 6 to help integrate those chapters back into how the book ends. And then I will need to go back through and finish the editing of the ending. However, 5 chapters does not sound that bad. I feel like the end is in sight. I'm feeling good about that. I just sat down to film a really quick video. I need to edit said video, and then I'm hoping to get to head to the library this afternoon / early evening. It's already 3 p.m. to get some writing done today and start working on one of those 5 chapters, even though I will probably jump between those 5 chapters. And today being February 20th, there are 10 days, including today, left in February, which makes me feel like it is possible for me to finish those 5 chapters here within February. Hi. Today is Tuesday, February 27th. I think the last time I talked to you guys was after writing group last week. And over the span of the last week, I was like really hopeful about finishing up these scenes in February. I was also expecting the last week to go a lot smoother than it did. Some things came up where I would start out my day like really enthusiastic about writing and being creative and everything. And then something would come up and I would lose all motivation for creativity. And even when I tried to sit down a couple times to write, like just no words would happen. So I pretty much didn't write for the 6 days between the last writing group and the writing group that I had last night. But I did go to my writing group last night. I did only write like 4 paragraphs, but that was more writing than I've done over the last week. And I was able to pull together some of my ideas that I had already written down for one of the chapters on my shot list. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to finish by the end of February. I'm still going to try because things have gotten better. And so I'm hoping that the creativity and the writing motivation come back. But it is also important to realize that other things sometimes take priority. I'm about to go to the gym today. I'm just going to walk on the treadmill. And while I'm doing that, I'm probably going to switch between listening to music and listening to podcasts. But whenever I go and make myself walk for a while, whether that's on a treadmill or outside or even on like a hike, my brain is often like picking away at a story idea of some kind. So I normally come up with some ideas while I am walking, and so I'm hopeful that that is the case today. My workout is complete. I ended up doing 5 miles, which ended up going really, really well. I always struggle with like the first 20 minutes, and then I kind of fell into a rhythm, and all I did actually was listen to music, and I started building a playlist for one of my side projects that I've started brainstorming for. And I think I ended up with like 12 or 13 songs on it, which I was actually like really impressed by. I don't normally like build my writing playlist that quickly. And as I was listening to music, I was also brainstorming various ideas for both DE and this side project that I was building this playlist for. And so I'm just gonna like do a little word count because it does kind of feel like it wasn't like writing, but I was jotting down like a decent amount of notes, and then I just kind of wanted to add those up. So for my side project that I'm calling Project Veil, I think, I wrote 431 words in brainstorming, which I think is actually really significant for just being on my phone, and 91 words for Project DE, but I was brainstorming towards one of the chapters on my shot list, my shot list of the chapters that I need to rewrite before I finish the rewriting that needs to be done, at least like the new chapters that I'm writing for draft 6, before then I can just go back to editing the ending of the book, which I think was incredibly solid, and I got some training in. So, and now it's 3:33 p.m. Happy angel numbers. Happy Wednesday. After I talked to you guys last night, I ended up doing a little bit more brainstorming for both DE and my side project, the Veil or whatever I'm calling it. And for DE, I think I was able to come up with what needs to happen in one of my like shot list chapters that I'm trying to finish theoretically this month. And today is February 28th, so I have 2 more days theoretically to finish 3 chapters. That's not impossible, but also if it doesn't happen, I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, and if it takes a couple days into March, that's great too. But I was feeling stuck on these chapters, which is why I haven't rewritten them yet, and the brainstorming that I was able to do yesterday kind of gave me like cause for one of the chapters, and so I'm hoping that that's going to help my writing today. And then the other thing that I worked on brainstorming for the Veil project was basically I figured out how I want the first chapter to end, and then I wrote the last sentence of the book. At least, as of right now, I'm still in the brainstorming page. My brainstorming thoughts are like 3 pages long at this point. And so I still don't know like that much about the book. I think supposedly it's going to be a shorter story, but how this often goes for me is I have an idea for a shorter story and then it turns into like a multi-book series. So as of right now, that's the last line of the book. However, that could also be like the end of part 1 if it turns out to be much shorter and I want to continue it. It would be a good cliffhanger, or it could be a great way to end the book if I want it to be a standalone, or it could be a great way to end the book if I want there to be more books that follow it after, which was really fun because I came up with it while I was driving, and so I had to do like a quick little voice note for it because I was like, this is too good and I can't let this like idea drift off into nothingness. And so today, so far, I'm feeling very creatively motivated. I have done pretty much all of the work that I need to do today so far. I would like to edit a YouTube video later today, but basically all of my client work that I've needed to do today is done, which is amazing. Which then also means that it's still sunny out. It's like 3:45-ish right now, so I think I'm gonna head to the library and do some freaking writing. It is now Tuesday, March 5th. After I was in the library last Wednesday, I felt really good about the work that I got done, and then I got like really hungry really fast, so I like had to come home and make dinner. I was telling myself that I was gonna write more, didn't end up happening. And then over the weekend, something came up that just like absolutely killed my creativity and any motivation to do pretty much anything. And so that brings us to like today and yesterday being my writing group. One of my favorite things about being in a writing group is that when I'm in town, it means that I have the very positive peer pressure of needing to show up for myself and for the other people there, because my being there then also puts positive peer pressure on other people to show up. And at the very least, I know that if I don't write throughout the rest of my week, even though I still want to and I still try to most weeks, that I have a block of like an hour and a half to 2 hours on Monday nights that I write, which has been really, really helpful over the last month because a lot of stuff has been coming up. And so it's just been like really helpful to be able to show up on Monday nights and know that I'm going to have a solid hour and a half to 2 hours of writing. Also, during one of my walks, I was brainstorming for one of the 3 chapters I have left for my shot list, I believe. And I was able to come up with something that answers a question that I've had in the story for a while. And it makes a more boring part of the story, like a more like dull chapter, or at least a chapter that I find more dull right now, to be a little bit more interesting. I just have to like add that layer in. And then with this one chapter, I actually realized that I don't need to rewrite it with the thing I want to add. I just need to go back to draft 3, which is when I cut it out. Or I guess technically I would have then cut it out in draft 4, but I went back to draft 5, couldn't find it. Went back to draft 4, wasn't there. I went to draft 3, and that's finally where I found the chapter that I was looking for, that I'm going to mostly move over. I think I need to cut it down. I'm going to add in the layer of this more interesting thing that I've thought of, which means that I'm still going to just consider it on my shot list because it does need to be fixed. But that idea does feel really nice, knowing that like I kind of already have the gist there. It's already been written, and I can go back to that version that's already been written and just kind of edit it from there. And then in theory, I have 2 more chapters before I'm done with the rewriting of DE, and then I can get back to editing the ending, which then hopefully my goal for draft 6, and again, this is an ever evolving goal. I have not written or edited as much in the last couple weeks as I would have really wanted to. And I do feel like every time I set this goal, it's kind of like a rolling goal. And so like, I don't really want to say it out loud, but I also feel like it's possible, and it would be a really cool timeline thing for me personally if I can get this done. But if I can get these 3 chapters done semi-soonish, as in like within the next week, which again, if I'm feeling creative and if I'm focusing on writing, that's possible. It's definitely possible. And then I don't think I have that much more of the ending to edit, and editing is a lot easier than trying to rewrite stuff. But basically from today, I have 3.5 weeks before I leave for my birthday trip. If I could finish draft 6 before my birthday, and when I'm saying birthday, I do mean like the trip that I'm taking, I would be so freaking happy. Like that would be such a cool like milestone accomplishment. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for right now. I do have a lot of freelancing work this week, which I'm kind of worried about, but I've tried to like break it out. I like wrote down yesterday on my like green legal pad, and I tried to break it down to like doing a little bit every day this week, just to try and like break it up so that I can focus on a little bit of that, get it done early enough in the day that then I can move on to writing. So that's the hope, the dream, the goal. I am finishing up breakfast, then I'm gonna go work out, and my workout today is cardio, so I may or may not come up with more ideas while I'm on the treadmill. And if I'm able to finish draft 6 by my birthday trip, that would mean that I would have a week of time between the end of draft 6 and the opportunity to start draft 7, which a lot of authors suggest taking time between drafts just to like give yourself some space from it, be able to come back to it with fresher eyes. And I know that some people say like at least a week. I think Neil Gaiman says like a very specific 10 days. Some people say a month, a couple months, but because draft 7 is hopefully going to be much more like just a read through, making sure that it makes sense before I, move on to the next steps, I think a week of time should be enough for me to take that step back. And I just feel like that would so perfectly like symbolize like finishing this year of my life and going into the next one and everything. I don't know, like I really like how it sounds. And giving myself that break between drafts would really make me feel like I was like able to relax on my birthday trip. after my workout, I ended up moving my desk back over to my window, which I've been telling myself for like 2 weeks I want to do, and I already feel better over here. There's something like more peaceful, it feels way brighter, and it makes me want to be creative. And so I think that this is a very smart decision. I am currently having pre-dinner before I go get sushi with some of my friends. It's 4:23 right now. I'm hoping to either do a little writing before, but it's probably going to end up being after. I did a little bit of work on this chapter earlier, went to sushi, and now that I'm back, I was really struggling with getting back into writing, and it was one of those things where like I knew if I sat at my desk I would do better, but I just didn't want to sit at my desk, so I sat on the couch. And I know that I've mentioned this before a while ago, but whenever I'm struggling to like plug back into writing, I turn on the Hogwarts Library ambient mixer. It's like ambientmixer.com or something like that. And there's just something like so soothing about that background noise that as soon as I turned that on, I was like immediately back in the writing. But then I could only focus for like 20 minutes. Then I got up, I did my dishes, I had a snack, and just kind of spent like 20 to 30 minutes doing that. And now I'm back for another writing sprint. I've been here for 20 minutes. I'll probably try to do another 10, and then I hope to do another productive break, but it's also 12:51 in the morning. So we will just kind of play it by ear. It's now 1:35 in the morning. So in that portion that I ended up having to pull from draft 3 up to draft 6 was a total of like 7,500-ish words across 27-ish pages, double spaced. And I didn't know this before I pulled it over, but that was actually kind of spanning like 2.5 chapters. So I'm not totally sure how I want to quantify this, but I do think I'm still going to refer to this as like one chapter or scene on my shot list. But I was able to complete the first 6 pages of this, which was 1,851 words, and it ended up being like 60 to 70% rewriting. So maybe I am rewriting this chapter. Even though it feels more like it's like a really intense edit, I am rewriting a lot of the sentences. I know I put in a lot of good work today. I was hoping that I would finish this chapter sooner, and I know that I'm not done with it yet, and I know that I will have to continue working on this. So I think I'm gonna call it for tonight, and hopefully I will talk to you guys tomorrow. It is now March 10th. I did not finish that goal of finishing the rewriting within the week, which is a bummer because I did want this video to be the one that went up for me tomorrow morning. However, that's not going to happen. It is now technically, like super technically, March 11th. It's 2:09 in the morning. Daylight savings was yesterday, and that really has messed up my day. And I want to keep writing, but I know that if I keep writing, I'm just going to mess up tomorrow. And yes, we are in the same sweatshirt again. I did just buy new sweatshirts because I should probably stop wearing this in every single one of the clips you guys see me in. But I've just been working on rewriting these chapters where I'm just kind of like layering in some more intrigue. These are the chapters that I was pulling from draft 3 back up to draft 6, which is kind of crazy. And I'm getting further, and I ended up doing 1,927 words tonight of rewriting and pretty heavy edits. And I was actually feeling really good about these chapters just because they're getting more interesting, which is great. And as I've been working on this, and this being draft 6, the very long process that has been draft 6 is it's starting to feel like all this work is paying off. I really freaking hope that's true. Like, yes, every draft that I've put into DE has made the book a lot better. However, I just hope that draft 7 goes smoothly and I don't make that many changes and I don't decide that there needs to be a draft 8. Oh. Fingers crossed, we'll see. But yeah, with that, it is a Sunday night, which means that I have writing group tomorrow, which means that I will definitely be talking to you guys with an update and more writing. I also wanted to mention that technically today is March 11th, yada yada, but we're gonna say that it's still March 10th for the sake of this argument because I did write on today, which is March 10th. I want to finish this draft, this whole freaking draft, not just the rewrites, but the entire draft, which I still don't know what kind of workload that actually means because I have refused to look at it, but I have basically just under 2 weeks until my friend gets into town for the trip that I'm taking for my birthday. So technically, I had today, the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Yeah, 14 days, including March 10th. So moving forward, I have 13 days to finish this freaking draft. Do we think I can do it? If I, I know that this is true with anything, but if I like actually sit down and work on this every single day, I think I could finish. What if that happened? What if I actually like finally freaking finish draft 6? That'd be really exciting. Today is March 11th. I'm now getting into bed, but at writing group a little bit earlier this evening, I was able to make more progress on those chapters that I'm rewriting / really heavily editing. And the progress continues, which is amazing. I do feel like this chapter that I've thought is pretty dull for like a while is finally getting better and is finally getting to a point where like I'm much more proud of it. And fingers crossed that it flows like a lot more smoothly with the rest of the story. But in theory, I'm making progress, it's getting closer, and I think I did just over 1,800 words tonight. It's now March 12th, and I'm going to the gym so that I can use movement to fuel my momentum. And hopefully that means getting a lot of writing done today. I've gotten just under 2,000 words the last 2 days, hoping for numbers like that again today. I just finished up with my workout, and even though I try to work out roughly like mid to more like early afternoon every day, or most every day, I really have to lean into it today just to like keep my body moving so that I don't just like end up on my couch in like a midday slump. But today is just like such a gray, dreary day that I really have to lean into it. But as I was just changing and coming back to my desk, this is not related to finishing the rewrites for draft 6, but I just figured out how I want chapter 2 of my Veil project to start, because I've kind of figured out what needs to be in chapter 1 and how I want chapter 1 to end, and now I know where I want chapter 2 to start. So that's kind of fun. I jotted that down. That project is starting to like really come together, which is exciting, and I came up with, I don't know if I mentioned this in a video or not, or if this was included in one of these like finish the effing draft episode 5s that I like scrapped, because I've tried filming this video like 2 or 3 times and then I just stopped vlogging. But I kind of came up with like the main things, or a couple of the main things that like I want to happen in this story. And I do think it's going to be like a slightly shorter novel, which I'm really excited about, because everything I write is so freaking long and takes me years and years and years to finish. And so if the Veil project ends up being like a little bit shorter, hopefully that would mean that the turnaround time between drafts and then getting it out would be shorter, which would be great. And I really like the theme in that book, and that has me really excited. But anyways, I'm not going to try to focus on the Veil project today. I do have some Fiverr client work that I'm going to be working on, but I think right now I want to sit down and start working on that chapter for DE that I've been working on for the past couple days, just so that I can feel like I'm getting a head start on my writing for the day. Okay, it's the next day. I'm not wearing my watch, so couldn't tell you what that is. I ended up writing probably about 300 words yesterday in DE and about 100 words in the Veil project, but I did end up getting like a lot of like work stuff done yesterday, and I got like a wide variety of things done, so I felt very productive, but writing was just like not as much of that time that I wanted it to be. However, I am now sitting down with my breakfast smoothie that I have every single day and have for the past several years, and I'm gonna work on a Fiverr order while I'm having my breakfast. And then it's kind of like a gray, dreary day again, but now today it's more of like a snowy, dreary day, and I know that I will focus better on my writing if I go to the library, so that's what I'm gonna try and do later today. Well, I would say that that was very productive. I finally finished that freaking chapter, or that like series of chapters. It was like 7,000-ish words. I finished it and I'm happy with it. And then I moved it back over into my draft 6 document because I was working on that scene or series of chapters or whatever, that portion of the story in another document. And so I finished that and I got it moved over, which means now that I have 2 more chapters that I want to rewrite or need to write basically. And both of them are kind of new chapters at the tail end of the chapters that I have been rewriting and need to plug back into the story. So one is kind of like in the middle of the story for one POV, and one is towards the end of the story for another POV, which means that I'm making progress. And it feels really freaking good. So while I was still at the library, I did start pulling together what ideas I have for one of those 2 chapters. And then I kind of organized the ideas, and now basically I just need to go through and like stitch those things together. And then that chapter will be done, which will feel great. But I was starting to get hungry, so I came home. I do have social plans this evening, so that might have been all of the writing that I get to do today, but I'm also amped up about it, and I know that I have to do more work. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe later this evening I'll be able to write more, but even if I don't, I'm very happy with what I've accomplished so far today. Okay. Well, I'm just finishing up a writing session. Today is, we're gonna call it March 14th, even though it's almost 2 a.m. on March 15th. But what else is new? This is a new sweater. This is a new necklace. So cute. I feel like Appa from Avatar in this thing. Like, it's the right colors and everything. When I talked to you guys yesterday, I did end up working a little bit more on that chapter last night, and I was able to get a little bit further. Didn't finish it last night, didn't finish it just now, but because it is almost 2 in the morning, I'm gonna make myself stop. There's kind of like 2 ways that I could finish writing the chapter that I'm working on right now. And I kind of want like the night slash like, you know, part of tomorrow to think about how I want to like structure it. But I'm happy with the progress that I'm making. I like feeling like I'm, you know, a couple days away, potentially really crossing my fingers that I'm almost done with the rewrites of draft 6. And then I can just move on to just finishing up like rewriting the ending, which should be relatively streamlined. Not crazy. I will have to do a little bit of rewriting, but not like whole chapters anymore. And I'm getting very excited, and it feels like the end is in sight and I can see it, and like it's like the light at the end of the tunnel, and it feels good, and I'm really excited. And I already know that I'm gonna add another necklace to my stack, theoretically, because I have 3 right now, when I finish draft 6, and I'm excited, and I already know which one I want because I found it on Etsy. But I'm just getting really excited, and so I just have to keep showing up. I think today is like the 5th or 6th day of writing in a row. The 6th day of writing in a row, which also just like whenever I get like a writing streak going, that feels really good. I'm just feeling like very optimistic right now, but it is 2 a.m., which is when I make myself go to bed. It is now March 17th, and I want to put this vlog up tomorrow. I am still working on that one chapter. I'm still technically working on like 1 of 2 chapters that are kind of like left over, or that I like still need to rewrite. I'm not sure that the last chapter in my shot list, so like of the 4 chapters that I've been trying to rewrite for a while, needs to be written. I think I can just edit what I have right now, and it will like serve the same purpose as rewriting the chapter. So in theory, if I can just finish the chapter that I'm working on right now, then I can be done with the rewriting and then move back over to editing. And then I have about a week until my friend gets into town, and that's when I'm going to take a week off. And theoretically, in a perfect world, that is when I take a week off in between drafts as well. So I guess there's nothing for me to do except get started on my writing for the day and just make some freaking progress. I think I finished the chapter. It feels a little short, but it is as good as I can get it right this second. And I had made a couple other notes for this chapter, but now that I just got to the point where I think the chapter ends, I'm just gonna save those couple other notes to be added into the next couple chapters in the sequence of chapters after this one. And so I think that brings us to the end of the rewriting portion of draft 6 of DE, which means that I get to go back to editing. Editing. Oof. Editing the ending. My next step is to move these rewritten chapters back over into my main draft 6 document, and then move on to the last piece of the puzzle, which is editing the ending of DE draft 6. I'm really excited. Oh, it feels like we're making really good progress. And I honestly don't know how much there is left. I want to say it's like 50 or 70 pages, so hopefully it's not like that much. And I do, in theory, want to finish that this upcoming week, which would be kind of crazy, but really freaking cool. So I guess that's gonna finish episode 5 of Finish the Effing Draft, and brings us on to episode 6, which is hopefully, fingers really tightly crossed, going to be this next week of editing the ending of my book. Okay, I'm like nervous and excited, but thank you guys so much for watching this far into the video. If you have not already, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.